Okay, so we're recording now, I believe. And we're coming back now with Chagigah after a little break in Hanukkah and everything, whatnot. And I changed the screen a little bit. I think last time we learned it was more like this. And we learned each page was showing up like this. And it was a little harder to follow along. So I've learned a little more tricks here with the site that I can split it up and make it sentences. So that makes it a little easier to read. Another few things we can do here. We can add vowels, makes it easier. Punctuations. It's pretty nice. And then we can also have translation. So we can have English translated right within what we're learning. So I really suggest this site. It's a very nice site. But for now, I'm gonna keep it. Wow, too many options. I'm getting lost. I'm gonna turn off translation. I just want source. And this is where I think we're up to. We're up to this section. So we have learned till here about the idea of someone who is deaf, who cannot hear. They're exempt from having to go to be Oile Regel, on the pilgrim, on the Yom Tovim 3 times a year. Now we're moving in the same direction. Reb Tanchem wants to come and add something on top of it. So Reb Tanchem says someone who's deaf in one ear, I don't think we have learned this already, someone who's deaf in one ear is also exempt from having to go. So Reb Tanchem says someone who's deaf in one ear is also puter min riyah. Why? Where does it take it from? Shenema, because it says in Pusik ba'oznayim. Ba'oznayim is a plural within their ears. And since it says it in plural, it means that they need to be able to hear with both ears. So here I'm going to use another nice feature of this site. I'm going to click on ba'oznayim and I'm going to jump over to the actual Pusik to where this is coming from. You can see the side, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it says here, "B'voy kol Yisroel la'rues es pnai Hashem." I wonder if I can make it bigger. Yeah, okay. So it says here, this is the pasuk that we're referring to. It says that when all the Yidden would come to be seen, the face of Hashem, your God, on the place where I would choose, you should read the Torah. And this is not talking about Oile Regel. This is talking about the Hakail. Like we learned last time, that once in every Shemitah, the Sukkot after the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year, all the Yidden would have to come up to the Beis Hamikdash, and the Torah would be read in front of them. And for there, we learned that everyone has to come, man, woman, and kids. And from there, we also learn many halachas as to how it works on the pilgrim for the Oile Regel. So here, the Pusik says that it needs to be read in front of them, ba'oznayim, into their ears. And since it's using the word plural, it means that everyone needs to have 2 ears. So the Gemara is now right away saying that it's not really a sign that ba'oznayim means to be everyone has 2 ears. It could still mean the reason the Pusik uses plural is because it's many people. And therefore, it needs to be read to their ears of all the people, but it doesn't mean that everyone needs 2 ears. It's still plural because it's many people. So the Gemara asks, V'hu ba'oznayim, when you say the word ba'oznayim, I already need that to tell me ba'oznayim the killer Yisroel, that it needs to be to the ears of all of Yidden, and not just everyone needs to have 2 ears. So the Gemara says, no, that part you learn already from the words Meneget Kol Yisroel. So let's come back to the Pusik. And you see what the Pusik says. When all the Jews come up to see, right? I'm not going to repeat all that, but in the here it says it should be read Neget from before, Kol Yisroel from all of Klal Yisroel, all of the Yidden. And then it says also Ba'aznayim to their heirs. So it says from the words Kol Yisroel, we already know that it needs to be read to everyone. So Ba'aznayim cannot mean anymore the ears of everybody. It needs to mean everybody individually needs to have 2 ears, because Kol Yisroel. So it's just fascinating, and it teaches us how the Gemara, how these sages, they read a posuk, and every word means something. So Kol Yisroel tells us that it needs to be read in front of everyone. The Aznayim now means that everyone needs to have 2 ears. So the Gemara says, no, but that's still not proof. Because if it says Meneged Kol Yisroel, if you have to read it in front of everyone, have a minute, I would have thought Avagav de Lo Shami, even if they can't hear. So let's say he stands in front of all the people and he quietly reads something out nobody heard. So you would think that's okay, because it says, so therefore, so maybe that's why the Torah says Ba'aznayim, it needs to be said in a way that it reaches their ears so they can hear. So I understand that it doesn't mean all of Klal Yisrael. It means individual or person, but at least that individual person needs to hear. How do you know it means that he needs to have 2 ears? Maybe 1 ear, but at least they can hear. So now the Gemara is jumping back to what we have learned last time. If I'm going to refresh our memories here a little bit. It can't be from there, because from there we learn it from the Pusik Leman Yishmi'i. Let me see if I can click it up here. No, it's not. So let me bring it up again. But Aznayim is here. If I can open up, and we can see the Pusik right before. Right afterwards, actually. The Vayikol Yisrael Leruzas P'nai Hashem. This is the Pusik we just referred to. And the next one, it says, you should gather up everyone, men, women, kids, even the converts, everyone who lives within your cities. Why? Leman Yishmi, so they should hear. And Leman Yilmidi, remember we learned, Leman Yilmidi means that they should be able to teach, not just they should be able to learn. That's why if someone who can't speak is exempt, because Yilmidi, he needs to be able to teach others. That's what we learned last time. So now the Gemara is coming back to that posuk and saying, you can't tell me that Ba'aznayim means that they need to be able to hear, because if they don't hear, we already learned last time from Leman Yishmi, which is really right, one posuk right next to the other. The phrases are one next to the other. So therefore, we already know they have to be able to hear. And if they cannot hear, they're exempt. Now, why do we need to say Ba'aznayim? We already know it needs to be said to their ears. And it cannot also mean the ears of all of Klal Yisrael, because it already says Klal Yisrael, that we need to speak to all of them. So therefore, the Tanchim comes and concludes that Ba'aznayim means someone who doesn't hear even with 1 ear is already exempt. Interesting. I think I'm going to keep it short this time. I'll keep it just for this. The Tanchim is now moving over to another area where it says someone who is limping only on 1 leg. He's also exempt, and he's going to go in to explain as to why. But I think I'm going to keep it short. We're late, but it's a good start. It's good to be back. Any questions? No, we're good, right? Okay, so let me jump back.